el exec, el Vele, el fenómeno que todos quieren ser, el chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 110 of the Exec Talk Podcast. I am your host, Velez. How are we doing? This is probably a quick episode. Just a couple of things. We have 2 games to cover. The playoffs are in the conference finals, so there's not a lot to cover from, day to day. Another thing, couple of things on the NFL. We'll talk about the Bengals. We'll talk about the Texans. And then just a little bit of baseball. Talk about Formula One. I believe it's this week where they're at. It's the Canadian Grand Prix at the circuit of Jacques Villeneuve. I believe it's this week. If not, I'm about to check. It is. It is Canadian Grand Prix, June 7th to the 9th. Okay, so next week. Next week is the Canadian Grand Prix. All right. NASCAR this week is at. They were just at Charlotte. They're going to Worldwide Technology Raceway in Illinois at Gateway. Another mile and a half. So let's get quickly into it. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit me on all the socials. They're in the description. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the love. Well, we had a sweep. At least we didn't have 2 sweeps, but we had a sweep. Celtics sweep Indiana. They hold them scoreless for the last 3 minutes and 30 seconds of the game. Indiana fought hard. Nembhard, Siakam, Miles Turner. TJ McConnell. They fought hard. But without no Tyrese, even if you get a bad shooting night from Boston, unfortunately, you're not getting that closing punch that Boston can hit you if a guy like Jason Tatum gets hot from 3, or if Derek White hits a 3, or Al Horford, or when KP comes back in the finals. You can't, there's nothing to deal with that with no Tyrese, not a guy that can score you 30, you don't have that guy on the floor. Nembhard did a good job and I think is going to take a leap for the next year, but, it's just not, you could dominate the whole game, and we'll talk about this with the other series with Mavs and Timberwolves. You could dominate the whole game, even have a lead going into the 4th and stuff like that, but every time I watch the Celtics against an inferior team, it doesn't matter if it's an 8-point lead, 12-point lead, 15-point. Anytime they hit a 3, it just seems like the avalanche is coming. So they played great defense. 3:30 left in the 4th quarter. Held them scoreless for the rest of the game. Now, this was with a lead, but Derek White hits a go-ahead 3 at 46 seconds left. Like I said, Nembhard and Siakam played great, but ultimately just couldn't close it out. It's the story of the series. They had leads every single game. They had leads. They lost them all. Should have won game 1. Should have won game 3. Should have won game 4. It's just a young team. It's the rite of passage for a young team. It's the first time in the playoffs with this group. Siakam just got there. He's going to be better next year, more efficient with Halliburton. Halliburton just got there. He was hurt. He wasn't fully healthy. Mathurin was hurt, which is a big piece going into his 3rd year next year. I expect him to take a giant leap and be a 20, almost. He could be a 20-point scorer, but I think that he is much. He has much more potential to, Arizona. He was incredible. So I think that he could be even a 25-point scorer, be their second scorer, if not their leading scorer, letting Tyrese get 15 assists. There's moves that they can do too defensively, but, other than that, I think that overall, I think that this is just a Pacer team that's young. Young 23-year-old superstar that didn't play the last 2 games. Actually, no, he got hurt game 2. So second half of fourth quarter of game 2, and then game 3, game 4. I think Nembhard will make a jump. Mathurin, we'll see who starts out of there, Nembhard or Mathurin. I think that the defense will be better. I think another year with Pascal Siakam, Rick Carlisle will make the necessary adjustments, and they'll be a factor next year for sure, especially if they're healthy. For the Celtics, guys, I've been saying this, like we're not impressed. We're not. You went through no Jimmy, no Terry Rozier in Miami. You face who's in front of you, right? Let me not be a complete hater, but you face who's in front of you. You beat who's in front of you. But at the same time, don't tell me that this is one of the greatest runs of all time. It ain't. Not even close. You ran into injuries to the key player in every single series. The top scorer, the top assist guy, the top defender. You've dodged every single one of those bullets. Every single one. So, and by the way they're playing, by not having leads throughout the games, having a deficit in the fourth quarter, having to hit a 3 with 46 seconds left, like that to me, with Jimmy and Terry Rozier, could have been a 6-game to 7-game series. With Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell, could have been a 6-game to 7-game series. And they could have lost. They could have lost in round 1, could have lost in round 2. And then if we're talking about a spade for a spade, if the Knicks are healthy, they could beat this team in 6. Because like the Knicks can go to Boston and take games over there. Their defense, Jalen Brunson's a better closer than either of those, than either JT or Jaylen Brown. I mean, we just seen it more. I mean, we're talking about 40-point games back to back, so like to win games. So, for the Celtics, it's literally gonna be, can this team? Let me set up the thing for you guys. It's been 6 years that the Celtics have made the conference finals. 6 of the last 8. Okay? In those 8 years, in those 6, they faced LeBron and Kawhi, Jimmy, LeBron, and Giannis. Okay? So LeBron is out of the East. Okay, so you dodging LeBron. Okay? Giannis is still there. Embiid is still there. Giannis is 28. He's not 30 yet. Embiid is still here. Not 30 yet. Now you got Brunson. He's like 25. He's like 26. You got Tyrese. He's 23. Tyrese Maxey. He's 22 or 23. So, and then your superstar, he's 26. Your other superstar, he's 25. And you've been there 6 times. Now, let me tell you why it's going to be harder if you don't win it this year. If you don't win it this year, that means you're going to lose to a younger superstar, whether it's 25-year-old Luka or 22. I'm not saying they'll come back in the series, but if the impossible happens, if that turns into 1-155 instead of 0-155, 22-year-old Anthony Edwards. Okay? This is with Kawhi being hurt. This is with Denver not being there. This is with Zion. No Ja. Wemby coming up. So before you even look in the East where you got Brunson, you got Tyrese Maxey, you got Tyrese Halliburton, before you even look, now you got Paolo. in the Magic. They're going to be better. They're still going to be defensively dominant, and they're going to be better, more efficient offensively. You still got Miami, of course. But overall, you could get to the finals. I don't know. Let's say they run rough shot through the East. I don't think it'll happen because I think Giannis will be healthy next year and Dame and him will figure it out. But let's say that for the next 3 years, we see Boston, Boston, Boston in the finals. I want you guys to tell me, and tell me if I'm tripping in the comments. You take that Boston team. We're talking about Tatum at 20, 26, 27, 28, 29. Okay? Who's he going to face in the other side? Who's he going to face in the Western Conference? Everybody's younger. Everybody's younger than them. Luka, if he faces him this year, he's 25. And if he faces him next year, he's 23. Joker's 27. So he's in the same ballpark. But Wemby's 20. Wemby's 19, 20 years old, 21 years old. If he in 3 years, 22 years old. Like, you still got Ja. He's 23. Like, you guys have a problem if you guys don't win it this year. Because I believe this is the last year where you can try to take advantage of somebody's inexperience. The problem is that with the Mavs, you face Kyrie, and that is not a good matchup for you. Kyrie will cook you. That's just what it is. He'll cook you. There is no we can cover him. We put Tatum on. No. He is cooking, he's frying you. Especially in Boston. When you start talking, Kyrie gonna wake up. And you know he's gonna leave it all on the floor in the finals. He's gonna be like from quarter 1 to quarter 4 for however many games it is, he's on go mode. So Luka hasn't been to the finals. You can take advantage of that this year. Ant hasn't been to the finals. You could take advantage of that this year. But what about next year? Denver, already been there, done that, has won it dominantly. The Mavs, if they beat you this year, guess what? They already won it against you. You get what I'm saying? Like, and if Ant does it, he already won it. He's way younger than you and already went through you. You get what I'm saying? So, like, I don't think that there is a path for the Boston Celtics. They could get through the East. They could get through the East for the next 3 years in a row. They could go straight through the East. And once they get to the finals, they will lose. Because they don't have that real dog. They don't got a Luka who wants to rip your heart out. They don't got an Ant who wants to rip your heart out. They don't want a Joker that's a stone cold killer, assassin. You know, they don't got that fire. They got a collective team effort with a very good team constructed by, man, of course I forget his name. The former coach, their former coach, the young guy, Brad Stevens. But a constructed, good team, unless you're the 2024 Pistons, you need that guy. It's like Velez, but Tatum is that guy, right? Like, top 5 in the league. Top 5 in the league? Jokic, Luka, Giannis, Embiid, and, I mean, Ant? Top 5 in the... What are we talking about? You smoking on? Ain't no top 5 in the league. He ain't no top 5. Not to me. He don't exhibit top 5 the qualities. Like, the consistency ain't there. Bro, guys. Jaylen Brown won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And you look at the numbers for them, and it's 30 and 30. 10 rebounds for Jason Tatum. 5 rebounds for Jaylen Brown. But then you see the turnover, then you see the 3-point percentage, and you got Jason Tatum being the number one option, shooting 30% from three. 30%. 30%? If I'm Missoula, I know that we want to chuck up threes, but when it's inefficient, like why? Why? Why are we? Why? You're bailing out the defense. You can't bail out Luka. He'll make you pay. Can't bail him out. If Luka gets a lead, he's going to want to embarrass you. He's done it to the Suns. He's done it to the Clippers. You know? And if it's close, you don't want to be in a 5-point game either way, whether Dallas is losing or you're winning, against 5 minutes of Luka and Kyrie pick and roll. You don't want that. They're the best clutch team left in the playoffs and all season. It is what and in the playoffs when they started, they were still the best clutch team. It's just what they do. Okay, so I think for the Celtics, they have to win it this. They have to, because the East will be better and less injured. That's just law of averages. And the West will always has a 1-up on you. The West is tested in the regular season because they're fighting for seeding. You're winning 64 games, chilling the last month of the season. What you facing? You ain't facing nothing. Ain't nobody pushing you. You don't worry about any matchup. Well, you get to that West. I promise you they couldn't beat a Denver. I know that they can't beat a Mavs. And if the Timberwolves come back again, I don't think they beat the Wolves. They don't got a Luka. If Ant comes back against the Mavs, 3-0 is the first team to ever do it. You think they're sweating the Celtics? Nah, bro. You know why? I'll tell you why. Jason Tatum is not the passer that Luka is. And Jaylen Brown is not the creator that Kyrie is. They're good on the defensive end. That's cool. We faced KCP and Aaron Gordon. Sat them down. So, then again, I think it's going to be the Mavs. I think it's going to be Mavs, Mavericks, Mavs, Celtics. And I think the Mavs are just going to go in there and it's like, all right, well, we got Derek Lively and Darren Neal Gafford. We're going to dominate the boards. We're gonna stay home on shooters, and we're gonna see what Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can do by themselves against Luka and Kyrie. Yeah, good luck on that. All right, I wish you luck. You're gonna need it, and I think you lose, and I don't even think it goes 7. Luka might, if Luka gets game 1 in Boston. If Boston just allows them to just get game 1, like they almost tricked it away against Indiana, yeah, I think the Celtics are in big trouble if they lose at home against the Mavs. Okay, so let's go to the Wolves. Game 4, super desperation, gotta win on the road, and they make the series 3-1. Ant with 29, Cat huge. Attacked the rim 13 times, basically drove 13 times more than any time in his career in the postseason. And it finally looked like the same offense that we were seeing against the Mavs and against Phoenix. A more aggressive Anthony Edwards, not looking to shoot the 3, looking to go inside, shoot his midi, made a couple middies, got his confidence, made a 3. Then get it inside, get fouled. He shot 6 or 8 free throws in the first quarter. Scored 17 in the first half to match Luka. And the switch that we saw was that McDaniels went on Kyrie, longer, 6'9" wingspan, 6'9", 7-something wingspan, 6'9" height, can corral kind of Kyrie, put him in a box. Kyrie scores 16 points. Luka, with Ant on him, he still goes for a triple-double, but it's inefficient. 7 for 22, 7 for 21. Got most of his shit at the free throw line. So, you know, he hit a crazy three that should have been a foul. He, you know, at the end, you know, you got to close out. It's a 105-100. You got to close out, and Minnesota closed out in the fourth quarter. They had a lead. They cemented it, and then, you know, Ant hits a big shot, then Cat hits a big shot, and then an inbounds pass play that was 150% was drawn up by Chris Finch to get the 5-point lead at the end. Luka misses a free throw after he misses basically the 4-point play to make it 2. Chris Finch calls timeout with like, I want to say like 40 something seconds left. Actually, I have it right here. I'll just pull it up. Okay, so 105-100. And so McDaniels dropped 10. He went 4 for 8. So 50% from the field. Rudy went 13 points, 4 for 5, 10 rebounds. Anthony Towns went 9 for 13, super efficient, 4 for 5 from 3, mostly in the second half and big down the stretch in the fourth quarter. He finally woke up in this series. He dropped 25. He got fouled out, but he put in his work. Conley dropped in 14, 5 for 9, and then Edwards went 11 for 25. So not super efficient, 2 for 5 from 3, but he dropped almost a 29, 10, and 9. You know, Kyle Anderson dropped 2. Naz Reid dropped 6. 2 of those super important at the end. Nickeil Alexander dropped 6. They shot 46% from 3, though. 53% from the field. You know, PJ Washington dropped 10. He went 3 for 13. 2 for 9 from 3. Derrick Jones Jr. dropped 9. He went 3 for 6. 2 for 3 from 3. Daniel Gafford went 6 for 6. Dropped 12 and 8. Kyrie went 6 for 18, 1 for 6 from 3, 16 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. If you keep Kyrie down on the assist as well, it helps you if he's having a bad shooting night. And then Luka went 7 for 21, 4 for 11 from 3, but he went 28, 15, and 10. Their bench, Maxi Kleber, came back from the shoulder separation. He got 2. Doesn't look comfortable shooting. Jalen Green, Josh Green came in, dropped 5. Dante Exum dropped 5. And then Jaden Hardy had a 5-minute, kind of just like spurt of just offense to the rim, shooting, cooked Rudy Gobert. I mean, it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. And then he scored on Ant, talked to him, and that was the end of that. But they shot 35% from 3, 42% from the field. It could be the Timberwolves defense, but at the same time, like, they were missing shots that they normally were making. So we'll see what happens in Game 5. The interesting thing about this game was Naz Reid scored 20 seconds left. With 39.1 seconds left. Yeah, Ant made the 21-footer. Then Mike Conley makes a free throw. And then Naz Reid makes a 3-foot layup off an inbounds. It was an inbounds play that Chris Finch drew up after Luka missed his free throw to make it to put it to 2. Stayed at 3. So he drew something up. They got Naz Reid in moving. They didn't pick it up in time. Naz Reid caught the ball from Kyle Anderson off the inbounds and just laid it up. 5-point lead. And that was it. Can it be possible? Can it be done? If there's a team to do it, it would be this Minnesota team. And the reason I say that is because for the 4 games, the point differential has been 8 points. For 4 games. 8 points. That hasn't happened since, this is the closest series in the conference finals since 2013. Okay? In 13 years, in 13 years. So that would be 2024, 2014, and then minus 2011, the year that the Mavericks won. So like for it to be this close, it means literally fourth quarter execution. Timberwolves defense versus the Dallas Mavericks offense. That's it. Derek Lively did not play in this game. I'm not going to undersell that. He has the vision to get in the short roll, the Draymond, basically the Draymond play, which is basically, let's say Steph or Kyrie or Luka has the ball at the top of the key. They get Lively to set the screen. When they set the screen, they drop that dump off pass right there, and he's in the short roll and Lively's in the short roll in a wide open area between free throw line and the semicircle. And from there, what Draymond Green is so good at is basically creating the 4-on-3, so he dishes out and makes the right decision. Lively's really good at that. Gafford is not. They took advantage of that. They could sag off a little bit. They did sag off because they did not want the lobs that were killing them for the last 3 games. So it's going to be interesting when Lively comes back. He just had a neck strain. He's going to be back. It looked like a concussion. People are saying it looked like a concussion. So if it is a concussion, I hope that he's not back. I hope that he's right. But they said that he is moving well and not drowsy, not dizzy at all. So, he'll be back for Game 5. Do I believe that Minnesota can win Game 5 and bring it back to Dallas? Yes. They've been in this position before. They're undefeated in elimination games. They're going home. They haven't played well at home, but they're going home. And then Ant said, I'll see you here. I'll see you back for Game 6. So he's confident that he can win Game 5 at the crib. I'm confident they can win. I just need Cat to stop fouling. I need the refs to make it a 50-50 series instead of what I'm seeing is kind of like 70-30 on the Mavs side when we're talking about fouls, going to the rim. Just fouls that are really you can see on film, you can see on replay, and are just not called for the Timberwolves. And for the Mavs, they get anything they want. That's just what I've seen. It's what it's looked like. Yes, you got Edwards taking free throws, but at the same time, like I'm not here to say like, oh yeah, he's getting free throws. Yeah, but like look at look what Luka's getting in the fourth. Ant's not getting that. Look what Kyrie's getting in the fourth. Ant's not getting that. As well as calls. Cat gets hammered as well. Like he's not getting calls either. So it's gonna be tough going against the refs, man. Hopefully, they have them at home. They make it a longer series. You maybe extend the Game 6. Maybe we twinkle our toes in the water and maybe get it to 3-3 going back to Minnesota. That's why I said Minnesota. If there's a team to do it, it would be Minnesota. Even though Miami went to Boston last year and embarrassed them in Game 7. But, shout out to the Timberwolves not getting swept. Ant said it himself at the post-game interview. He said, I've never gotten swept. One of his homeboys or a coach, one of his coaches on the staff said, oh, you've never been swept in your career. And he's like, yeah, you're right. So, he came with the right amount of energy. He attacked. He was Ant. Not terribly efficient, 11 for 25, but he put up 25 shots and 25 good shots. It wasn't like 9 threes. He shot, I think he shot like 5 threes, which is that's okay. 5 threes. I'll live with 5 threes. He shot 5 threes, went 2 for 5. I'll live with 5 threes. Just don't shoot 9 of them. Give me instead of 9 threes, how about we turn like 5 of those threes into middies or go into the basket, to get fouled. That's what I want. I want the aggressiveness to stay there, the defensive adjustment to switch him and Jaden We'll see how that happens now with Derek Lively being back. I think that they can get Game 5 at home. The series is still over, but if there's a team and a situation that you would kind of say that it's possible, it's this type of close of a series, and the better seed is Minnesota, so they're going to have 2 of the last 3 at home. You know, they have game 5, Game 6 is in the mat, and then Game 7 is at their crib. You know, and this is to go to the finals, so the same scenario as last year. For the Celtics, even though Miami just, you know, because Tatum rolled his ankle. No, you guys just couldn't make shots, and we played defense. And you know, unfortunately, we got against Denver, and Denver said, "You guys are the Eastern Conference. You guys are whip 'em boys." But yeah, I mean, thank God that it wasn't 2 sweeps. Like, I was about to be really pissed if it was 2 sweeps. The slander would have been crazy. But I think the Mavs still are in very firm position to win this series. Especially if Kyrie has a normal game, 25. If Kyrie has 25, I mean, in the 4th, they'll win. Moving on to baseball. Acuna tore his ACL, but then Sean Murphy and Austin Riley both came back for them. One of my boys told me that Rosarena was getting kind of looked at by the Braves. That would be a very big pickup. He's a superstar. But for Tampa Bay, like, what are you doing? No one there, no more. So that Randy's it. So I don't know what they're thinking there, but you know, overall, you know, the East is still is the tightest at the top. You know, 1.5 games between the Yankees and Orioles. Then it drops off a cliff. Boston's 8.5 games back. Tampa Bay 10.5. Toronto 11. So it's literally going to be Boston, the Yankees and Orioles all year. Even though Boston has a good pitching staff. And then every other division, whether it's National League or American League, is a little bit closer, but the 1 and 2 there's more separation than in the AL East. So Cleveland has 3.5 games up on KC, and then the White Sox are 22.5. But Detroit is in 4th place. They're 10 games back, and Minnesota's 6.5 games back. Okay, in the AL West, you have Texas 3 games back of Seattle. Then you got 5.5 games back Houston. Then you got 7 games back the A's, and you got 8 games back the Angels. So everybody's like under 10 games. And then you go to the NL East, you got Philly 5.5 games up on Atlanta. Then you got 13 games up. This is another drop off the cliff. 13 games to Washington. The Mets are 15.5 games back, and Miami's 19.5 games back. So that's basically between Philly and Atlanta at this point. And then also at the same time, you go to the Central, and then the Central is Milwaukee, and the Cubs are 3.5 games back, but it's close because you got St. Louis 3rd in the line, 4 games back. Pittsburgh is 6 games back, and Cincinnati's 8 games back. So again, another one that's under 10, another one that's under 10, you know. And Pittsburgh's gonna get better with Skeens and Jared Jones. Cincinnati just has to find the bats, bro. I mean, it can't just be Steer out there. You got to get Ellie going. You got to get, you know, Fairchild and Fraley. You know, you got to get them going. And then the pitching too. Can't keep letting up so many runs. And then in the NL West, it's the Dodgers. 5.5 games back is the Padres. Then you got 6 games back, so a half game back is San Francisco. 9 games back is Arizona, and then 14.5 games back you got the Rockies. You know, so it's pretty much kind of lining out already how it's going. If you look at the wild card in the American League, it would be Boston. Yeah, Boston, I think, would be the first. No, Baltimore would be the first wild card. Then KC, then Minnesota. And in the National League, you got Atlanta, San Diego, and the Cubs, leaving out San Francisco, Arizona, the Mets again, Cincinnati. The National League is a little bit more top heavy than the American. The American, you got Baltimore, KC, Minnesota, Boston, Detroit, Texas. They're in the wild card hunt right now. So overall, I think everybody's having a decent season. Of course, you don't want Acuna to tear his ACL like he did it in 2021, but they won the World Series. So that would be bad for him, having 2 rings and not being able to be a part of either. So early in the season, too. I mean, relatively, we're not to 100 games, not even close to 100 games yet. We're halfway there. But, there's certain hitters that I'm seeing this year that are just not clicking. Now, Corey Seager picked it up. 8 homers in the last 8 games. Mr. World Series champion, 2-time World Series champion, has picked it up, but his team hasn't. The Ezekiel Durans and Jonah Himes and Nathaniel Lowe's, like they haven't picked it. The Evan Carters, they haven't picked it up yet. Even Simeon to an extent. Ellie stealing bags, but struggling with the home run, struggling striking out. That's I don't understand why. Bobby's doing well. Kyle Tucker's the only Astro doing well. I need Jordan to start waking up. Altuve to start waking up. You look at somebody like Julio. He started waking up, but he has to get the power back. Like he really has to get the home run swing back. So every superstar, for the most part, everybody's struggling except Aaron Judge, Soto, but Tyler O'Neill's struggling. You got Gunnar Henderson not struggling. He's leading the league in bombs. But Jackson Holiday didn't pan out the first time that he came up. Kowser's doing well. Mounty's doing well. So that team is playing pretty well. I think Adley could play a little better, but he's playing well. He has 10 bombs, good average. So I'm not sliding him. Maybe Mateo would be somebody, or McCann would be somebody that you can be like, he's not playing up to stuff, but the whole lineup is legit. For Boston, Rafi's up and down. Tyler O'Neill's up and down. Tampa Bay, we talked about him. It's Randy and nobody else right now. Toronto, Vladdy and Bo Bichette still haven't woken up to what they're supposed to do. So it's kind of like, bro, are we gonna wake up now, or like we're 50 games in? JP Crawford is another one who has to like really start picking up the bat. The A's play well on offense, but their defense is garbage. Angels have problems on both. Bryce is playing well. I think Bryce is playing pretty well. Playing pretty well. Kyle Schwarber's doing his old thing, 220 with 13 bombs. Matt Olson for Atlanta is who has to wake up. JT Realmuto for Philly has to wake up as well. Castellanos, those guys have to wake up. Sosa's playing good at Mundo. But for Atlanta, Austin Riley came back. Sean, man, why do I always forget people's names? You need Matt Olson to do good. Like just be consistent at the plate. Like you're striking out pop-ups. Like you had that home run swing last year. Like all you have to do is do it again. Easy power. Like, I think he'll figure it out. Austin Riley has to get back to his postseason form. Sean Murphy has to get back to how he was last year. He came back. CJ Abrams is playing well, but you need Lane Thomas. They still haven't brought up Dylan Cruz for Washington. Francisco Lindor struggling. Pete Alonso struggling. No Francisco Alvarez. Miami's a mess. Milwaukee has William Contreras. Willie Adames has to start picking it up. Bryce Terang is playing well. So is Sal Frelick. For the Cubs, Belly, Swanson, Morel, that's your power line up there. They have to produce. Seattle, Goldie's starting to get his step back. Nolan has to follow suit. Newt Bar, Brennan, Donovan, those guys, Mason Wynn, keep it up at over the 300 level. Jordan Walker, I think they send them back to the minors. Pittsburgh, you just got to hit Brian Reynolds, O'Neal Cruz, I always keep forgetting the guys' names. I hate this. Jesus. Connor Joe has to start hitting. Triolo's playing pretty good. Nick Gonzalez, they brought up. He's playing pretty good right now. G1 Bay he came back. He has to play good. Edward Olivares, Michael Lake Taylor, and then Reynolds, of course, he's your guy. And then Aroldis Chapman stopped blowing in the 8th inning, leads. They should just start David Bednar at closer. That shouldn't even be a discussion. Excuse me. For Cincinnati, Ellie has to hit. McCain's not there. McLean, which is sad. They need him so badly. But Benson has to hit, man. Jesus Christ, you strike out so much. You can hit bombs, but you strike out so much. Will Benson, Luke Maley, Tyler Stevenson, Jamer Candelario. Can we get the one that was in Detroit, please? Jonathan India. Can we get the Rookie of the Year version? Stuart Fairchild, Jake Fraley, TJ Friedel. Nick Martini was playing well. He disappeared. And then Spencer Steer, which is the one that's riding the ship right now. They just got to play better. Be more plate discipline. For the Dodgers, everybody's playing well. Everybody's playing well. San Diego, Fernando's playing well. No Xander. Cronenworth has to start. Arias, Cronenworth, Fernando Tatis. That's going to be their lineup. So they have to produce. For San Francisco, Matt Chapman has to produce. We need to get more consistency from Blake Snell, injury-wise. Not pitching. He's pitching relatively well, but not his dominant Cy Young self as last year. Yu Darvish is pitching okay. Musgrove is pitching okay, but they need more offensive help. I'm talking about the Padres there. I switched back. My bad. Let's go back to the Giants. Webb is pitching well, but he's not at the level that he was last year. Kyle Harrison has to keep learning how to be a young pitcher. I love Jordan Hicks. He just has to be consistent. Just keep it at 96, 97. You don't need the 100. You don't need the 103. You don't need the splitter at 102. You don't need the sinker at 101. Just keep it consistent. You're controlling the zone. You're having good command of that fastball at 96, 97 with life. I think that, he should keep going steady like that. He'll build himself up into a great starter, I believe. Arizona, what do you want me to say? You want me to say pitching? You want me to say hitting? Ketel Marte is the only guy hitting. Corbin Carroll is not his Rookie of the Year self. He might be hurt. Probably something's ailing him or something, because he's not right. Christian Walker has to be better. Lourdes Gurriel has to be better. Gabby Moreno has to be better. Just everybody in total, Gallen, Fott, no Merrill Kelly's hurt. So you need help from the bats to help and then the bullpen has to help them. Ginkel, Paul Sewald, they have to help him. Because, Castro, they have to help him. And then Colorado, it's where talent has gone to die. Doyle, McMahon, Tovar. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's just like the White Sox. Crochet, Luis Robert. Like, it's unfortunate. But yeah, that's it. For this episode. Baseball is always getting interesting, but there's still a long way to go. Stuff needs to happen. There's still the trade deadline, of course. Next week we might be, let's see, because they play tomorrow, then they play on Saturday if they force a game 6, and then Monday. So when I do the episode, it would be game 7 day. So the next time we talk to each other, and I'm in episode 111 next week, on Tuesday, when you guys hear it, it would be game 7 of Minnesota Dallas, if it happens. If not, we're gonna talk about the finals. We're gonna break that down angle by angle, and then for the NFL stuff, Nico Collins gets so I think this is genius by the Texans. Okay? I think this is absolutely genius by the Texans. Why is it genius? Because you didn't wait another year. You saw the breakout, you saw the rookie year, okay, pretty good. But you saw the breakout with CJ Stroud and said, let's pay him now before he's a $30 million receiver. And we have to overpay. You know what I'm saying? This year, in his first year with CJ, he went 91 catches, 1,461 yards, 9 TDs, and 17 games, including the playoffs. They gave him a 3-year, $72 million extension to his rookie extension, to his rookie contract. I think that this is great for the Texans, because now they can figure out how to do Tank Dell in the next 2 years. They have Stephon Diggs if they want to pay him, but Stephon Diggs, I think, is still on a deal. And it just gives you versatility with your weapons. This is perfect for CJ Stroud. You give him clarity that who his weapons are going to be, that his guy that he leaned on last year after Tank went down, is going to be there for the long term, where you can probably have a run in you. They're young, but CJ's so good and D'Amico's so good, and Bobby Slowick came back. So I think, and that defense got better. So I think overall, there is a run there maybe in the next 2-3 years where Nico could definitely be a part of that. 49ers, Juwan Jennings, they gave him 2 years, $15.4 million. I personally, this is a slap in the face to Brandon Ayuk. It's just me. Brandon Ayuk or Debo. Whichever one you think that is more expendable than the other, and maybe they'll move on from. They have Ricky Pearsall that they drafted. Who is he in there for? Brandon Ayuk or Debo? Debo's a little harder to replace. Ayuk is just a top-notch receiver. So reportedly, Brandon Ayuk thinks he's a $30 million receiver. I mean, that's up for interpretation. The way that I see him, I believe that. I believe that he's in the same T. Higgins type of boat. But what is San Francisco going to do? And especially with the conference, how it is, it definitely got stronger. There's going to be some new players that people are not going to see coming, whether that's, Washington, the Bears. The Packers are going to be in the mix for sure from week 1, with Jordan Love and that young core. You got the Falcons with Kirk Cousins. So there's definitely some areas for challengers to come out, and for you not to feel all cozy and stuff up there over there in San Francisco. So, they paid Juwan Jennings, their 4th option. He blocks. He had a hell of a game in the Super Bowl. But I think that this is to Ayuk, like, yo, we can pay this guy, but we're not gonna pay you yet. And just like we see in Cincinnati, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins both don't show up to OTAs. Now, I know it's voluntary and everything, but that's where chemistry's built. Joe Burrow just came off of that wrist injury. He doesn't have his number 1, and number 2 targets there. They want to get shit done with Jamar Chase, but are they waiting for the Justin Jefferson deal? That's a kind of hula hoop game that they're playing now. And then for T. Higgins, he didn't sign the franchise tender, or he did, and he's not showing up to OTAs because he still wants a long-term deal. So, I think that all get resolved eventually. I don't think it's good for them, but I think it get resolved eventually. Okay, now that's it. Thank you for listening. That's been the Exec Talk podcast with your host El Velez. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on all my socials, hit the comments. I love you guys. God bless. Let's hope that we'll see a game 7. If not, Celtics Mavs. Let's get it cracking. Love you guys, and I leave you with the outro.
Que todos quieren ser el chamaquito que no puede